Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Rob and Michelle, and we've had such an incredible number of people commenting and viewing the videos that we put out about this farm journey that we're on, that we thought that we would answer some of those comments and or questions in a couple of videos for you, because I think that there's some really great questions that other people are going to find interesting. So we're going to do a series of videos to answer these questions, because some of them are going to be longer answers than others, just to kind of respond to your queries.
Okay, let's dive in. So Amanda Tolan asks, Rob, when looking at purchasing land in our climate, would you consider an available fuel source to be important for heating purposes? For example, a forest that you can sustainably manage to provide wood for rocket mass heaters and super efficient wood stoves.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Amanda. And one of the reasons that we had looked in so many different locations across Western Canada, and even I might have secretly considered moving to Central America, was because it gets really cold
here. As we
here.
sit here in the winter.
Yeah.
All bundled up. It gets really cold here. It's not cold. It's not cold permaculture. It's not cold climate permaculture. It's the really, really, really cold climate permaculture.
Yeah, and I know Amanda knows that because she lives in Alberta as well. But yeah, one of the things that keeps me up at night, my original journey started into permaculture because of my concern about peak oil, and inevitably that resource, oil and gas, is going to come to an end. And I'm going to do a whole series on energy efficiency and the importance to be thinking about why we should not only have fuel sources, but to think about how that fuel is being put to productive use, whether it's being used in an efficient and an effective way. And the house that's behind us right now is a complete energy hog. It uses the same amount of energy as a house, probably 5 times the size of it. And it's unbelievable to move from a house that we completely retrofitted in Calgary with R30 walls, which isn't even the best. It's much better than this. Highly air sealed, R100 attic, triple glazed windows into this thing, which is essentially just a sieve. And every time we dump energy in, we might as well just be heating a bubble of air around the house because it leaks so much energy. There's a stat that I read recently in the last 5 years. That's recent for me. That said that if we all switched to burning wood without addressing the efficiency issues, that we'd run out of wood on the planet within 5 years, which is very concerning. And so the good news is that we actually know, as a species now, we know how to create buildings that are really energy efficient. We can create buildings that use 90% less energy. And there was a study that I read 3 weeks ago where the city of Toronto did a study on net zero housing, and they compared it to kind of a mid-range efficiency, so net zero being very efficient, mid-range efficiency, and then code compliance. So building code basically means the government has put out a regulation and said this is the worst you can build. You can't build any more. But
that's how everybody builds.
Yeah, you can build garbage, but we're going to stipulate that the garbage has to be at least this good. And so they compared these 3 houses. They turned the heat off to see how they'd respond in -20 weather. And the net zero house actually never went below 16 degrees Celsius after 3 weeks in -20. If I did the same thing to this house, it would be below zero within 24 hours. All the pipes would be frozen. There'd be water damage, on and on and on and on and on. So we know how to build really good buildings, and once we do the best to create an efficient envelope, an efficient building, then absolutely one of the decisions that was really important to me was to have access to a readily available supply of renewable and sustainable fuel. And so 100 acres of our property has a very vibrant forest, and my goal is to heat this house on less than a half a cord of wood per year total. No propane, a little bit of electricity to run the appliances and stuff. Right now we use 6 cords of fuel, which is about 6 pickup truckloads, and I'm going to do some work to figure out how to turn that amount of energy into something that means something to somebody. Right now a cord doesn't mean anything. And it uses 4,700 liters of propane. And so I've got a little app right now on my phone, and every day it tells me how many liters of propane this thing is robbing from me. It's about 20 liters a day right now, in the middle of the winter. And so energy is very top of mind.
Yeah. Can I jump in?
And yeah, absolutely.
So back to your question, Amanda. Some of the other homes or properties or acreages that we looked at, one of the big concerns we had was equally we were considering how we were going to heat the place, but retrofittability was paramount, was top of the list, because not all homes are easy to retrofit for them to become for them to have a much better building envelope. And because this home needs so much work in terms of retrofit, that topic is going to come up a lot in the next year. I mean, that's very likely going to be one of the main things we're focusing on. So we'll get into more what that means. What does retrofittability mean? But know that even more important, I think, than fuel source was our ability to reduce our fuel requirements, our heating requirements through building envelope.
Totally.
And improving the building envelope.
Totally. And so I'll close with 2 points. One was that this house was highly retrofittable, which is why we liked it. And number 2, in our province in Alberta, while it does get really cold, the primary fuel source here is not wood, it's sun. So if you get a house that's retrofittable and it has passive solar potential, then you can meet over 50% of your heating requirements with good envelope and proper orientation of the house with the right windows. Mm-hmm. Okay guys, we're going to close this video off. We got a bunch more questions, so keep an eye on the channel for future questions that we're going to answer. If you found that interesting, give us a like. And I just have to show this because our video editor gets paid by selling t-shirts. So if you like his work, then you can support our t-shirts and hoodies. This one says, "Yes, I can." And you'll find those in the Teespring store down below. Okay, see you guys in the next video.